Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have another awesome update for you from the brand Haviston. A little bit about them. They were founded out of the UK back in 2015. Essentially, they're based out of London. And what they do is they make high-end NATO straps designed with both functionality and ergonomics in mind, which is great. So, of course, as you can see here, these are two new releases from their Service Series line. And basically a little bit about that particular line. It's pretty much their signature collection of heavy weaved, versatile stripe pattern NATOs that are inspired by vintage military color schemes. The nice thing is, within this particular layout, they've re-engineered the one-piece strap essentially to outfit it with that signature secondary floating keeper, which allows the spare tail to be stowed without the need for folding back, unless desired, because you can basically scoot it in either direction. And then they also, because of those changes within the layout, they repositioned the buckle to sit closer to the 7 o'clock on your wrist, so it actually sits more like a natural buckle, like let's say a two-piece strap would be versus a one-piece strap. So I think that's also really nice. Also, you guys will notice that these are part of the A2 line essentially, and what that means is basically alteration 2. So it's the updated version, and basically they're equipped with this single pass layout for a streamlined wearing profile and reduced off the wrist height, which is great. And the nice thing is you do get the single pass, but the way that they have the hardware, it still gives you a lot of the same personality that you get from a traditional two-piecer. So I think that's I shouldn't say two-piecer, but basically there's an extra little hanging guy for for lack of better words. Essentially, there's extra fabric, and typically there'll be two pieces of fabric that run underneath the case here. In this case, only one piece of fabric, so that's really nice. But guys, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, pick these up, and get into it. All right, guys, so as far as my kind of watches that we'll be featuring here today, we have this Glycine Airman 18, 39 millimeter, nice, obviously, with the military theme, fits. Also, this little undone number with a little bit of customization, to commemorate my time in the United States Marine Corps. Even have kind of a ghosted little placard there, Echo 5 Alpha. So Sergeant in the Marine Corps with my last name starting with an A. So Echo 5 Alpha, typical call sign. Now, when we get into the new packaging, I know many of you who've purchased these in the past might be used to the tin cans, which is really cool, but they've obviously gone in a new direction now, as some other companies have kind of copied their layout. And I actually think these are really cool too. Honestly, the little tins, I have a stack of them, and occasionally they fall over every once in a while. They're not super useful, so it's nice, again, for them to really focus on functionality as well as form, because there's actually some cool, as we'll see when we open this up. I don't typically do like unboxings on the channel, but I think when I can add value, it's worth it. So essentially there's a little tape spot here. We got the MS-32 and we got the Saber, or if you were watching The Office, Sabre. So that's the US office, by the way. Okay, so we cut through there so we can open it. Cut through here. Okay, close that off. Now, of course, a little single Swiss-made Victorinox. This is the Swiss Army one, because it's only one thing in there. It's not multi-functional like your Farmer X A-locks here. But the nice thing is, something like this is great for opening the mail. It's quite sharp. You don't have to worry about it dulling down. And it's super easy to resharpen. So shout out to Victorinox. Now, one of the nice things, as we'll open here, what we'll find is this packaging holds more secrets. So we pull this up, Here we go. There's a bunch of different placards. And then, of course, this piece here, which is really interesting, actually snaps in. You get also, fitting and care guide, which is great. You also get this nice kind of military aeronautical motif. Boom. You get installation guide built in, and man, there you go. Look at that strap. Outstanding. And the nice thing is, from the outside you can still get a little peek through the window, but when you look, man, looks like they even have the updated hardware on here. Really digging this. That's another really nice thing about Haviston, is that they constantly are refining their formula. And look at that, guys. Look at everything from like the weaves, the materials. They're always updating and trying to perfect that. And man, look at that hardware. Beautifully milled. Just really well done. I'm really digging that. Nicely brushed. And essentially, we'll take this here, run it through. Of course, these are more on the thicker side, but the nice thing is, still, because it's a single pass, it's really nice there. As you can see, a little bit about this particular design here, guys. This is known as the MS-32 strap. It features that geometric dazzle naval camouflage pattern. So if you are into, let me give it a quick wipe actually off camera. But if you guys are into at all military history, you guys will know at one point the U.S. naval ships actually had these really cool geometric designs painted on the sides of the ship's hulls, essentially, because it would actually blend the lines. Similar to when you think about it like a zebra, right? Standing in a pack of zebras, it confuses the predator's eyes. Same thing happens out in the water with the ships. So basically, you wouldn't be able to tell how many ships there were, and they would actually it would kind of make it harder for you to track. At least visually, right? This was pretty old school before they had really advanced tracking systems. So really cool. I love that. I think this is a pattern that, when I think about everything from tricolor to digital camouflage, this is one of those cool, that dazzle pattern actually has a really fun place in military history, which I definitely dig. And I mean, this dates all the way back to 1943, and obviously it looks absolutely great paired here. And then the nice thing is, because you are getting different hues and tones of blue and gray, it fits with a watch, let's say, that has different tones of blue and gray. And so if you can't necessarily, let's say you're not matching with one tone, you do have other tones that will really match nicely. And as you can see, really slides underneath the case quite beautifully, which I definitely dig. Now, next on hand here is the Saber A2 strap, of course. These are both A2s, and basically this one was inspired by the iconic black and yellow striped scheme adopted by the pioneering days of jet fighter development back in the 1950s. This actually, I don't know why, but it actually kind of reminds me of Robotech, just because of some of those old fighter, the Valkyries, their color schemes were also tied to those old fighter jets. And yeah, there's something just that's really retro about this layout, and I really dig it. And then again, guys, still a lot of useful information. Obviously for me, this is my umpteenth Haviston strap, so I don't need to go through the paperwork there, but for you guys, yeah, it's there, especially if you're new to the game. Now again, similar layout, beautiful hardware, guys. Just want you to see that. Just breathe that in. Nice contouring, nice clean edge bevels there. Quite handsome. And then you of course have the signed buckle. You also have the sliding keeper, so when you get it on the wrist. Now I chose this one, of course, because it has that kind of patinaed yellowed loom. So hey, why not fit it here also with the military theme. Here you kind of have that mixture, let me give it a quick wipe, mixture of a kind of field and air. setup, you know, actually probably air, land, and sea, when you consider all of the you know, the little nuances in this watch's design. But it fits the aesthetic really well, and I dig it, obviously, with the gray, the black, and that nice kind of mustardy gold stripe down the middle. I think it looks absolutely great. And then, of course, not adding a ton of heft, which is always a benefit. So let me actually give it a quick wipe, because I'm not wearing gloves. And then we'll just get it on the wrist. So on camera it'll be a little bit harder, but as you can see, now look at where the buckle actually is on the wrist. It's, ooh, trying to line up the hole from underneath, sorry. Reaching around a tripod, there you go. Boom, right? So you can actually have it positioned. Typically they're positioned a lot more out on the outer end of your wrist. Essentially everything is bulky here, but because you can kind of switch and move and wiggle this, it actually, well, this is actually kind of loose. Let me get it just one notch tighter. There we go. And then the nice thing is it's not overly long either. So although it does have a sliding keeper, for adjustability, they actually do have a shorter strap length than typical. So you're not going to have a bunch of overhang. You can tuck it in right there. And man, that looks good. Look at the way it holds the light. Beautiful weave there. Very nice. Nice and uniform. It has a real beautiful sheen to it. So this strap obviously goes really well with anything with when you're thinking about some type of mustard or yellowy accents on the dial. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, that patinaed look. It could also just be, you know, an accent color for some of the text that goes across the dial on various watch models. But I did want to put that on there just so you guys could kind of see the way that it plays. I think it is really quite nice. Now, for this bad boy here, man, I really dig this. And then another nice little shout out to, of course, the US military is they actually do also have the little Haviston logo hidden throughout, which in our digital Marpat camis, there's actually little eagle open anchors all throughout the pattern as well. So I thought that was a nice kind of nod to the core and, you know, obviously the military heritage that they really go for. And that's one of the things that's really beautiful about the Haviston brand is that, you know, they have a theme, they have an aesthetic that they really nail. You know, they're not just necessarily trying to put out more product out there. It's everything's very cohesive in their line, and they have multiple lines, which is great. So you can get a lot of value and versatility when you're looking at what you got. Oh man, look at that. Nice, fun pop of color. And the nice thing is, even though it's very dynamic in the design, right? You have all these geometric angles and everything. The color palette is actually pretty muted. It's not super loud. So it's something that actually remains quite wearable. Obviously, it's a fun pattern from that perspective, but it's not too shouty, which I think is great. So it's one of those things where from a little bit, from a few feet away, it won't necessarily scream in your face. But when you do catch a look at it and then you take a closer glimpse, you find more and more visual interest as you get drawn in. Here, you're getting a much more straightforward setup. But man, does it do it well, right? Like, don't mess up a good thing. It's NATO straps with stripes. It's a good look, guys. And you can see even here on this, you know, little undone piece, it looks absolutely immaculate. I love the tones of gray and how satiny that that fabric is, and the way that it really plays with the light. And then the nice thing is, guys, look, it doesn't add too much height off of the wrist, not a lot of lift. Which is absolutely fantastic. So really nice from that standpoint. Really digging these guys. To get some more into some more of the details and I guess closing thoughts really at this point, you know, these are extremely comfortable to wear, really well third out ergonomics, so it's not just something where it's comfortable. The layout also adds to the comfort because of the length that they used, how you can kind of butt up the spring bar to this the stitching here to really get that, you know, you can really set this keeper up to be in a really nice comfortable spot to where you're not going to get a bunch of kind of heavy material really offsetting the balance of the watch. So I think that's really nice. It definitely has that rugged yet refined quality to it, which I can dig. And then, you know, again, when you think about Haviston, you know, when I kind of will always associate them with premium products, you know, executed to a very high level of finish, you know, with a brand that has an eye for military designs, you know, and honestly, they just continue to impress with every new release, update, and iteration. So it seems like they just keep giving you more of a good thing. So I can't get mad at that, but definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do hit like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.